I'm Greg McCambley, a Peace Corps volunteer here in the Gambia. And over the next few minutes, we will be teaching you about grafting, what it is, why it's important, and the benefits it will bring, not only to the local environment, but to you, the consumer, as well. We also hope, by the end of this video, we will be able to properly graft and bring the concept of grafting to other folks around the world. So without further ado, let's sit back and enjoy grafting in the Gambia.
Well, grafting is simply combining two parts of trees, the boardwood and the rootstock, to propagate a superior offspring. Which means if, for example, a tree is bearing fruits that are not tasty, they can easily change the fruit to a more superior and tasty and more of market value through grafting.
So simply put, budwood is just the part of the tree that is ready to flower. It's designated by a green stem and a bulging head, but has no flower just yet. And you connect that to the rootstock, which you can see here in this photo these two men are working on currently, which is simply the trunk of a young tree. And by connecting these two together, you will have bigger yields of crops over a shorter period of time.
Graft here in the Gambia to improve the food security situation and also to be able to introduce new varieties of fruit trees up country where there are only a few varieties of fruits and their fruit season is very short. So if we start grafting, that means we will be able to introduce many more varieties there, and then they also have a longer season. Also, seedling trees, that is the traditional way of producing fruits by seedling trees, takes a long time. Sometimes it takes up to 6 to 10 years to start fruiting. But grafting shortens that period to 3 to 4 years at most. You can start harvesting your fruits. So it is very important in the contribution of food security in the Gambia.
So let's stop right here and discuss why grafting is important. One, it will lead to improved food security for our villages. It will also lead to improved variety of the fruits that we decide to graft. It will lead to a longer harvest season, and it will also allow us to pick fruits much earlier in the tree's life. For example, if we were to graft a mango tree, that mango could begin fruiting in as early as 2 years, as compared to a mango tree that were to grow on its own may take as long as 10 years to begin fruiting.
Mangoes, you can graft citrus, all citrus family, the whole citrus family. You can graft avocados, you can graft jujube, you can also graft cola nut. Okay. For mangoes, you have many varieties. You have Kent, you have Keith, you have Hayden, you have Tommy Atkins, you have many, and they mature at different times of the year. That means if you graft, you can graft early maturing varieties, you can graft mid-season varieties, and you can also graft late maturing varieties that will help you to expand the fruit tree season. For citrus, you have oranges, you have mandarins, you have kumquat, you have tangerine, you have grapefruit, you have seedless limes. All those can be propagated. Although the sweet oranges do not do well up country, but mandarins and grapefruits and limes do very well up country. So those that do well up country can be introduced there, and those that do well in Congo here will also be introduced here. No, banana is not actually a tree because the stem is made of only leaves. So actually it's not a tree, it's a herb, if you like. Also, the purpose of grafting is for early maturing, and banana matures in 9 months it starts fruiting, so there is no point in grafting. We only graft because we want those varieties that take years to fruit, to shorter periods to fruit. That's why it's not necessary to graft bananas.
Steps for how to graft. Fruit trees. First, we will need three things: a sharp knife, the budwood, and the rootstock. In the image here, we've decided to use a moringa branch to represent our rootstock. Now, the first step will be to take the sharp knife and the budwood, and we will want to cut the base of the budwood, not the head, but the base. We'll want to slice very quickly at a 45-degree angle, leaving an incision like this, a very clean cut. The next step will be to turn the budwood around and gently shave off the skin of the budwood. And it should look something like this. So this is what the base of your budwood should look like from the side. The next step, we will want to make an incision on the shaving side parallel to the 45-degree angle that we sliced at the base, looking something like this. Now we are done with the budwood and we want to move on to the rootstock. First, let's find a smooth spot on the rootstock, like this. Perfect. Once you have found a smooth section, gently slice beneath the skin for about 5 centimeters. This will allow the skin to bend out, but still remain strong, and it should look like this. This is where we will graft the budwood to the tree. Next, you will want to slice the skin, leaving about 2 centimeters to remain. After that slice, we will want to make an insertion just above the sliced skin. And that is it. You can now graft your budwood to the rootstock. And this is what it should look like when you are finished. When grafting a citrus, we will take similar steps as we did with fruits, but with some minor differences. First, with the budwood, we will want to cut a 45-degree angle in the base, just like we did with the fruits, and turning it around, slicing off some of the skin for about 5 centimeters, as you see in this picture. Now let's move on to the rootstock. First, find a smooth section along the rootstock. Here, you will want to cut just beneath the skin for about 5 centimeters. Cut off about 3 centimeters of the skin, leaving a flap to place the budwood in. Once you have finished with your grafting, it is important to get 2 strips of clear plastic, wrapping 1 strip around the base of the budwood and the second strip around the head of the budwood. After about a month or so, you can remove the top plastic from the head of the budwood to see if it's begun budding. If it has, leave the second layer of plastic on the base of the budwood for about another month or 2. This will help the budwood fuse to the rest of the tree, like you see in this picture. If your graft ends up looking like this, that means you have made a successful graft. And that's it. You have successfully grafted your first tree. Remember that it takes time to properly graft a tree. So be sure to get a few sticks and practice your cuts on that before you start on a real tree. You don't want to kill your tree, thus killing your harvest for the season. That would do more harm than good. So now that we understand how to graft, it's important to understand when to graft. Technically, we can graft any time out of the year, but it's important to understand that if we graft during the rainy season, the chances for infection at the grafting point are much higher, and this is because of the moisture in the atmosphere. So try not to graft during rainy season. The best time to do it if you want a successful graft is to do it sometime around April or May for most trees. This is right before the rainy season, and then the tree can graft successfully just before rainy season and grow into a healthy tree. Well, that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you learned a little something. Until next time, Take it easy.
I'm a god. Stalker. I love my life. 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 No, now we don't know where tomorrow might bring, cause the future, the hours away. So me, I live my life today. Me, I live my life today.